Oh, good news and bad news. Good news and bad news. DA launched their manifesto, exactly the same words that the ANC used last week. We're going to create jobs and fight corruption. Yeah, now we're just waiting for the EFF. And of course, Julius Malema has, through Al Jazeera, promised us that he will take over the country with the barrel of a gun. Ach, Julius, for every barrel that points out, there are 2 barrels pointing in. Oppas my skat. Oh, and then, by the way, do you remember this? Do you remember how the world ended for so many of us? Because we thought die swart gevaar, die geel gevaar, die rooi gevaar, al die gevare. 27th of April 1994, we whites were stacking tins of tuna into the garage, waiting and waiting. Oh, my ma was so ontsteld. I went to the old age home to fetch my mother to take her to vote. And she said, no, the National Party comes to the old age home. We don't have to go. I said, no, things have changed. Of course, things have changed. The National Party used to come to the old age home and say, Oma, put your cross here. Fair and free elections. Of course, it was a very multiracial queue, and we stood in the queue, and behind us stood 2 of the black maids from the old age home. And the one said to my mother, Mrs. Pochenpoel, who are you going to vote for? Of course, my mother waved a little National Party flag, uitgewoonte. And so one of the maids said, you must vote for the ANC. And my mother said, for why? For what? And so the maid said, well, if you vote for the ANC, that we, 2 maids, will steal sweets for you from the spa. If you don't vote for the ANC, no sweets, no maid. Do you know what? My mother voted for the ANC. She said, rather a good maid than a good government. In Afrikaans, liever is 'n goeie maid as 'n goeie regering. Well, it was the beginning of the rest of our lives. Of course, we had to change many things immediately. We couldn't call them terrorists. They were now government. We had to learn the words of our new national anthem, Nkosi Sikelel' Afrika. That's the only words we could get out because we didn't know the words, because the words were banned for all our lives. Everything was banned. The anthem was banned. Nelson Mandela's face, his picture was banned. I knew some white liberals who had a banned picture of Nelson Mandela under their mattress at home. They were so scared they'd be arrested by the security police. They found out later on, after the 27th of April 1994, that they were sleeping on a picture of Harry Belafonte. So what am I going to do to celebrate Freedom Day on the 27th of April? Well, it was World Book Day, and so I have chosen the obvious book to celebrate. Of course, Nelson Mandela's extraordinary story of that long walk to freedom. It is the inspiration we need today to always look forward with excitement. And we've all got a copy of this book, like a copy of the Bible we haven't read either. We'll start with this one. And just think back. Think back to that extraordinary day on the 27th of April 1994. Where were you on that day? Stacking tins of tuna? Or were you queuing up with everybody else? And what were you thinking in that queue? And what are you thinking today? No bad news today, just good news. We are still here, in spite of everything. Oh, sister, my grandchildren said, please, Gogo, have something purple for Prince. Lieber Prince.
Evita, Evita, and you know what we mean. Evita, Evita, always on the scene. Evita, Poseidon, oh, Evita should be queen.